Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 384 at scavengerlife.com.
This podcast will be based on one simple question.
Okay.
Was packing annoying this week?
Packing, yes. I think I mentioned that to you. Packing was annoying.
Yeah, it was.
And that is a good thing.
Yeah, it was really a good week of sales. We basically sold almost 3 times as much as we did a week ago.
I mean, is it the handling time? Is it not?
Yeah, I think that this is a good example of we didn't work any harder during the week. Like, I don't know if we even listed anything.
I listed on the way home from San Francisco, but that was it.
But
yeah.
Other than that, yeah. So. And I think just it's one of those things where people are ready to buy when they're ready to buy. You know.
Yep, you can't control it.
And it's a good, I remember back in the early days of this podcast, we'd have a lot of discussions with people online about, well, if you list more on Monday, then you should see it results on Wednesday. And I just think for us, proven again and again, the work we put in today doesn't necessarily give immediate results.
Yeah, exactly.
We were selling things we've had for 4 years. And just, such random stuff.
Stuff that we've listed recently, stuff we've listed years ago. Yep. It's just like, you just don't know. Yeah. That's just the nature of how we sell.
It was good. Okay, so before we get into all of our numbers and stuff like that, couple things about eBay. So we noticed something that someone had mentioned on the forum about eBay has this quirk. When you relist an item that has multiple quantities, it will reset its quantity, right?
If you do sell similar.
Okay.
Because for some reason, eBay's like, oh, you want to sell a similar item at quantity 10, which was your original quantity, but now you only have 2. That's what it does.
Right.
I've found that if you just say, relist or relist as fixed price, whatever they call it, it keeps your quantity.
Okay.
So I actually had that issue this week.
So we always do, we will put it up and then we don't ever do it. Like it's just automated.
But if you look at your listings and it's like, this is over 16 months old.
Yeah.
eBay starts not wanting to look at those. So you're like, okay, I have to end these. Because we're long tail. Yeah. Stuff does take that long sometimes. So you'll end them and then, in quotes, relist. I used to sell similar. I don't know why I did that. We thought it was better or whatever. But it messed up quantities of things. Like this week, this was an issue. We sold some markers, and this lady bought a bunch of them, but one set, I didn't have any. And it said I had like 3.
Right.
But it got relisted at some point and just refreshed the quantity when it shouldn't have.
I guess we should go through them and check and see.
Yeah, I know. We need to go through them. It's really a pain. There's so many.
Another message we got was something that someone had mentioned about, PayPal instant payments or something?
It's instant transfer. So PayPal, now I think it's because PayPal owns Venmo, and Venmo has this as well. If you want your money, like we know right now, PayPal, you can send your money to your bank account in 1 business day. For some people, it's longer, but I think they're implementing it so it's 1 business day for everyone. You can have an instant, so it's basically a wire transfer, but you do pay a fee. It's a 1% on the transfer amount.
On top of the whatever fee you normally get.
There's no fee to transfer to your bank account, so that's free if you want to wait. But if you're like, I got to move this money right now, they're doing 1%, which is great because I don't even think you had that option before. Right. So if you're willing to pay a little bit, I think it should be free. But
yeah, and just for some background for anyone that is new, up until a couple of years ago, when you tried to transfer money from your PayPal account to your bank account, it would take 3 to 4 business days.
Right.
So if you tried to transfer money on a Friday, the weekend doesn't count. It wouldn't get to you till Thursday. So it was a matter of
really managing your money.
You'd have to really think far ahead or get in a schedule where you're always emptying out your bank account, your PayPal account.
Right. And we did that. Yeah. I remember we'd be like, we'd have it on the calendar on a Monday. You got to move it,
A 1-day business isn't bad, but still, if you do it Friday afternoon, it's not going to get to you till Monday. Not so bad. It's cool they're doing the instant. It's weird that they're doing the 1%. I mean, There's actually there was actually a good NPR podcast about that, about like why in other countries, like in Europe, people can do instant transfers from their bank account for free, really easy. It's not a big deal. And in America, for some reason, it's this
wire transfer
bank cabal thing.
Like we've had, video clients want to pay us through wire transfer, and we're like, please don't, because we get this huge fee from our bank.
$25
it's like $30 to $40 sometimes. Yeah. And you're like, just send me a paper check.
So it's cool that PayPal is doing that. I wonder if they're doing that because they're starting to feel the heat with eBay's new future payment systems. I think eBay was promising with the new, that
it would be accessible. Or
you get access to it immediately.
You get access to it immediately, or it's like just a direct deposit right into your bank or something. I forget what the deal is.
I think it's what it is.
Right.
But now we're getting into territory I don't understand, but
I just wonder if PayPal's trying to make it better than the eBay payments. So they're like, just keep using PayPal. It's so much better.
I wonder if eBay's going to just make everyone be on their new payment.
I don't know
a system, or if you can choose what.
I think you could choose. I think you could. I thought the idea was that they said PayPal will still be an option, but we're going to have this other one too. Yeah. I don't know.
We'll see.
Who knows?
Okay, so this week in our store, we sold about a little more than 1% of our store.
I like that metric.
Yeah, so we have 8,200 items, and we sold 88 items.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, 1%. 82, it would be exactly 1%.
So we were away for 7 days when we were in San Francisco, and we sold 30-ish, 30 to 40 items.
We sold almost 3 times as many items, and
so crazy.
It's funny. I think about that 1%. Like that's a high amount. It's more than 10 items a day for us.
Yeah, which is a lot.
Man, normal, traditional. I don't know. People that run other kinds of stores, and it's not the kind of vintagey, weird scavenger stores we sell.
Right.
I think that they like to do we sold 30% of our store.
I mean, right.
But that's good for us.
I don't know. I mean, we're just doing what makes sense.
And we made almost $3,500 this week, which is amazing.
You got to tell me what we sold, because I can't believe it's that high.
And so the average selling price was about $40. It was $39.64.
That's pretty high.
Average. So if you do the math, I mean, that's that's where it comes in. This week, and we can talk about some of the things we sold. Number one, we sold a $600
Ouija board.
We had talked about this when we first bought it, how a significant amount of people were like,
I wouldn't bring that in my house.
You should just burn that thing because it's evil. So anyway, we don't believe in that. So we sold it. Someone bought it for $600. It came in a box of artwork that we got.
It was hidden in a box, yeah.
$30 for the box. And I didn't even see it. And Ryan was like, this is the real thing.
Well, at first I saw it and thought it was just homemade. Right. Because back then it looks all homemade and stuff. It's wood. It's painted on. But on the back it has a patent from 1890. Yep. And you're like, this is old.
It's one of those things we wanted $1,000 for, but we just took $600.
Well, I put it up for $1,200. And then I saw some selling for $600-$700. So I was like, okay, I think I put it up for $799 best offer. They offered $600. We were like, yes. It took me half a second to say yes to that.
And then we sold 5 or 6 things that were worth over $100. About $100. So we sold some face cream for $125. Joan Rivers face cream.
Look,
That's one of the things where it's just so weird. I'm like, I have no idea.
Long tail. I put it up high. Somebody wanted it.
Someone wanted it. We sold again a bunch of markers. From that big haul we did probably a couple of years ago. We sell them every a month. We'll sell a bunch of them, and $130 for those. It
was $130, but as I said earlier, I couldn't find one of the boxes because the quantity was messed up, so I had to refund her $30. So it was about $100.
$100.
Still,
yep,
that's pretty good.
We sold some. This is a more of a cool scavenger thing. So we have these rentals.
Yes,
and I like to provide amenities.
Yes.
to make it like a really nice place.
And it is nice.
So I go, and every year I'll subscribe to some cool magazines, like, outdoor magazines, like hiking and like design magazines.
House design magazines.
Yeah, Architectural Digest. It's real cheap. If you go online, you can get like discounts.
It's like $12 a year.
Even cheaper, yeah, like $10 to $15 for a subscription. And then after they get too old, after about a year, we sell them.
Yep.
So we sold 15 magazines for $45.
Yep.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. No, I loved that sale.
Yeah.
I was like, they were from like 2010, 2011.
Yep.
But I'm sure someone was like, and I've actually done this before where I've heard that someone had an article or a write-up or photos in a magazine from 2011. And I'm like, I would love to I want to read that article, but it's not online anywhere. Yeah. You got to buy it on eBay.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where, like, it's no one's getting rich off of that, but
we're making our money back.
I love that.
I mean, I was just going to recycle all of them.
Right.
So I decided to sell them instead.
I love it. We sold 3 Amsterdam maps for $60, and these were like 4 years old. When we were in Amsterdam a long time ago.
Longer than that.
It could be even longer.
Yeah.
And we bought a big stack of these beautiful.
They're maps, but they're offset lithographs, like a limited edition run by this like map maker. So they were signed and numbered.
I thought we were going to make so much money.
We were like, what a gold mine. Well, first of all, we framed one really nicely, and it's in our house, and we love it. But then the rest of them, oh my God, so hard to sell. Because I think we had like 25 of them.
And I think we might have 6 or 7 still left.
So I sold 3 to someone in the Netherlands, which is
can't
perfect.
Sell them, yeah. But anyway, I mean, we're still making. We bought them for $1 each, so
yeah, we bought them for less than $1 each.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things where you think you're going to make a lot of money off of it, and you're not.
Don't.
I guess it's.
Well, we didn't lose money.
I guess we'd have to do some more marketing on it or something, but it just seems like such a cool thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so we and then the rest of it is we just sold like a lot of just shirts, shoes, pants, just all the things we have in our store. It was all selling
housewares,
and most of it was not $10 and $12 stuff. It was like $30 and $40 stuff. So that's
that helps.
That's how it works. Scavenge of the week. We did a little bit of scavenging, but really
we did a little bit. Like we weren't finding gold or anything.
A lot of clothes and shoes.
Shoes, housewares, linens.
Stuff we still find.
Yeah,
we didn't go to an auction. It was just going to a couple of thrift stores on our way to something else. Scavenging on top of life.
Scavenging on the way to something.
I know. It just shows me just the incredible wealth and like waste in this country.
And we found a bunch of stuff too. Right. It's not. I mean, you're not like this is very expensive stuff, but you're like, I'll sell those.
No, but it's a lot of stuff like we buy for $1 each, and you're gonna sell for $30, and it's just there. It doesn't take a lot of effort. It's
just part of the throw it on the pile.
So amazing.
Yep.
Customer issues. So here are the things. 2 more buyers bought items and immediately canceled. Immediately,
within less than 10 minutes.
And you know what? People are totally allowed to do this, so I'm not saying there's anything wrong, like it's anything illegal or anybody's done anything wrong. It's just weird behavior we've been experiencing
frequently.
And it seems like this stuff comes in waves. We've always talked about it. I mean, so these 2 items, they're worth together $440. So it's one of those things where you're like, oh, great, we sold this. Oh. And
guess not.
Again, we actually a message to one of the people was like, is there a problem? Like, what happened?
Yeah, and then she just was like, my daughter, in quotes, bid on this by accident. Mm-hmm. So sorry. Yep. And you're like, yeah, I am so sorry.
It can happen. And then we had 4 more items that got bought.
Unpaid items.
Just were left unpaid. And those were worth $220.
Now, one person did pay for something. I had a nightgown that I took like a super low offer. because I've had it forever, and they did end up paying because I had sent some, payment reminders and invoices.
Finally, right?
And she paid, but nobody else paid.
So 3 unpaid items.
Unpaid items
is worth
that
about
just
$200
sitting on.
Yeah, no, and it's just one of those things. I mean, that's
when you have make offer on a majority of your store.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have make offer on everything, and then a couple months ago we were like, just put it on literally almost everything.
Yep.
And I think that's why.
Okay.
But it stinks because one of the offers was on a $75 crate thing.
So what do you think the thinking is? Someone's like, I want this, and I'll buy it for this amount, and then they win, and then what happens?
They don't want it.
Okay.
They're just like, either that or they found another one, and they're like, oh, this one's, $30 cheaper. Buy it now. I'll buy it. And then I'll just ignore all the messages from the other seller, right? What else can it be?
I have no idea. I'm just
surprised that people don't say, hey, I can't pay for this. Instead, they just ignore you. One guy did, this leather bag. He was like, I can't pay for this. And you're like, okay, well, now I have to sit on it till I can close the, whatever.
Anyway, it's just it's one of those weird things where you're just, when you're, we have a lot of items in our store, but we're not a seller that's huge. We're not making thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, thousands. So,
but think about it.
When there's $600 of sales that could have happened,
right? You're like, how is that?
I could have really used that.
But right, exactly.
But it's just part.
But think about it. There are millions of people using eBay every second of the day.
Right.
So you're like, there's bound to be people who are just messing around, not serious.
Absolutely. And again, I'm not saying eBay needs to solve this, and I know people are going to send in suggestions of how they can solve
immediate pay with make offer.
But even that, we had people that bought items, paid for them, and then
asked to cancel,
and then officially cancel them. So it's not like that.
So you're like, it's the same problem. It would still happen.
Squeeze blood from a stone.
It would still happen. It's a really good point because I always think, immediate payment for make offer.
Right.
Doesn't matter because they're going to say they send a cancellation request. It's the same. So what are you going to do? Say no, I can't cancel it. No, you have to cancel it.
Okay, things we learned in the forum. First of all, a welcome to anyone new that's joined our forum.
Welcome. There's a few people that joined.
Again, when you join, just because of how our forum system works,
email me.
You have to join, and then you have to email us to say who you are.
Yeah, say, hey, I'm a real person. That helps me so much because there'll be days where I get 25 new signups on the blog, and I'm like, I don't know who is real.
There's just a lot of spam, and so
and the spam looks real.
And we're very proud of the fact that our forum is spam-free. Yeah. So we're very protective of that. Anyway, so one new person, she said she owned a thrift store back in the 1990s.
Yes.
The old days.
Grunge.
She said she lived near or in a college town, and she...
More grunge.
Said she would able to go to thrift stores and she could find leather flight jackets.
I remember shopping in the 90s.
Derby hats.
Amazing. Pendleton.
Again, I don't know if it's rose-colored glasses, but it sounds like she's finding the best of the best without any effort. And she started a brick-and-mortar thrift store for all the young kids. Like
a hipster, clothing store.
She had it for a handful of years. It sounds like her downfall... From what I understand, was she had some bad employees, so she'd be out buying, and then the employees just kind of did a bad job and ripped her off.
That sucks.
But she's doing eBay now,
But she's got the background in buying, finding the good stuff out there. I mean,
money can still be made. It's just all a different.
Good luck finding Pendleton. You can't find that stuff. I find Pendleton skirts.
Yeah,
but. Pendleton,
no one wears those.
Plaid,
shirts,
board, beach boy shirts. Forget it. Can't find them anywhere. They're nowhere.
Those days are over. But, instead of crying about the old days.
Don't cry about it.
I'm always about, but
what can you find?
There's still stuff now. It's, you just got to see what's out there.
Faded glory.
Yep. And that's
from Walmart.
That's a fun thing about scavenging in my mind is instead of having a preconceived notion of what you're going
Right.
is like being open to the possibility.
Right. And just seeing something and being like, let's try it.
Yep. It's like some Joan Rivers face cream. Who knew that it would sell?
$125 a jar.
Who knew?
It's like gold.
Yep.
Gold dust.
Then someone else had said that was reminding everyone that when you use boxes to ship, and these boxes you get from Walmart or
Amazon,
whatever, that you need to mark out the old scan code. She had an item that I guess was getting scanned, but it was the wrong scan code. It was an old scan code, so it was like...
But the crazy thing is, she's like, I covered it up with my other label, but for some reason the scanners could see through the label, so it was getting sent to Amazon. Like, it was getting sent to, like, back to their warehouse or something. It eventually got to the person, like...
I guess my question is, if it's scanned wrong, the address is still there, so it's being sent to the address, but the scan is saying it's going someplace else. Isn't that the problem?
I don't know, actually.
I think it's what the problem is.
Well, she said the scan was saying... So she lived in the Pacific Northwest. Her customer was, like, down in L.A. or something, and it was going to Chicago. And she was like, why is this going to Chicago?
I don't know if the actual item
was moving there.
But the scan was
saying that.
I
have no idea. But, so you should either Sharpie them out, which is a pain with Amazon, because there's all these barcodes all over it, just, like, printed on there. But also, something that I do is I put opaque labels on top of the codes, and then I put my labels on top of that. So I hope that's opaque enough, but maybe it's not. Maybe I need to Sharpie it.
I know there's going to be people that are going to respond and say, it's your business, just use clean boxes. And make
some people turn them inside out.
Yep, and, eBay, those of us that have stores, they give you coupons, so you can buy boxes.
You use those boxes, too.
Why would you ever have an old box? Anyway.
I reuse boxes. Look, if I have Amazon, like, we order something from Amazon, I reuse those boxes because they're great boxes. But, just cover up the labels.
We talked about it before. I think we got something from eBay recently where the person had, like, a cereal box.
What was that?
You're
like...
And,
it was a shirt. It was a shirt, right. So it wasn't something breakable.
For us, it doesn't bother us.
I didn't care.
I'm like, I appreciate the fact that people are using something that would have been thrown away. I get it.
Yeah.
I understand that.
That's like the beauty of eBay, though, where you're like, this is definitely like, I bought like a bunch of books the other day, and this guy sent it media mail, and he basically wrapped it in a trash bag, which, we talk about that. We wrap, soft goods in trash bags and tape it up if they're thick enough.
They're poly mailers, basically.
Yeah, they're like poly mailers, but it was just funny the way he wrapped it. And he, like, taped the label on, the, inkjet printed label with, like, Scotch tape around the edges where you're like, if this got wet...
Yeah.
No one would be able to read it, so... But it got to me, so no complaints there.
Yep. And then there was another good comment. Someone posted... It was actually like an article. I guess, everything we're doing is not brand new.
Right.
We're just doing a bit of a twist, where everything's basically online. But there's a whole history of people, and... You would know this because your mom was part of that, like, kind of a circuit where you're going to, like...
craft shows.
Yeah, people would sell antiques at antique fairs. Yeah. And, there was a whole world of people.
And there still is.
Right. Selling all this stuff.
Yeah.
Out
the back of their cars.
So this guy, I guess he wrote a series of articles. I forgot his name, Ed something. And it was interesting. He was like... He was trying to break down the different kind of people who sell like old stuff.
Right.
And he says there's like the people more, it's like us.
Right.
Bread and butter, just selling out of like antique stores. And, and then he says there's like the medium-sized people that go to the, like every year there'll be a 2-day flea market weekend and they'll sell
Brimfield
higher end stuff. Yeah. And then he says there's the super high end people who sell at like the auctions, or like a woman, the caller who called in says they buy for a specific group of people that they already know. And those people depend on selling things, tens of thousands of dollars because they have a reputation and the buyers trust them.
They're like curators.
And I guess the article was about, is it possible to jump up in those ranks?
Right.
Go from people like us to the guy who's selling like $10,000 items. And he did that because that's what I've been talking about.
Right.
Like, can we sell higher end items?
Right.
And the moral of this article was, you can't. He's like,
interesting.
If you're the person that sells a low end stuff,
you can't.
You can't make it to the higher ranks unless, I guess, you start to learn to be around those kind of rich people.
Right.
But you can't just do it because no one's going to think that what I have is worth $10,000 because I don't have a reputation.
Right. Exactly.
That's what the article says.
Right.
Do I believe that? That's a question.
Well, but so there's a rank in between that top one where you're driving around in your beautiful car and being a fake rich person. And then there's, us, and then there's a rank in between that. So can you have that in between rank online? Because we've been selling for X amount of years with X amount of feedback. So that's your reputation, right?
So here's my thinking on it.
Okay.
Number one, I think what this guy was talking about had been more about art.
Okay.
And Inglewood on the forum brought this up, that art is going to be totally different from a lot of other kinds of things.
Right.
Art, is like
Yep.
people, it's like a totally different weird world, and oftentimes people are buying high-end art because they're trying to impress other people. It's more of like a signaling kind of thing.
And it can be easily faked, so it has to be authenticated.
But there's a lot of other kinds of things that are just well-made items that can't really be faked and that don't need a gatekeeper.
Right.
And number one, I guess, to me, I hate gatekeepers. I hate that idea.
Yep.
I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm just saying I think that in this new era of the internet and stuff, that gatekeepers aren't as important.
Right.
It's like you said, we also have a reputation just on eBay.
Right.
People can see we've sold a lot of stuff. We don't have a lot of bad feedback.
Right.
So, blah, blah, blah. So that's, the thing there. I think also there's a difference between selling something for $10,000 plus,
right? Like
our friend James,
right?
If you have like a very specific piece of art, that's much different than if you're selling something for like what I've been talking about, high end, $300 to $1,000,
right?
Like that
the medium, right?
Yeah, like
$600.
$600.
It's a great sale.
The person doesn't know us. We don't need like a personal reference,
right?
We just show the photos. It's there. I think between $300 and $1,000. I know that's a lot of money for probably people. It's like us and hearing this, but that's not a big jump.
It's not a big jump
for a lot of people.
Yeah, sure. As sellers, yeah.
I mean, even we buy $1,000 computers on eBay,
right?
And I don't know the guy. I just go by
the
what
trust
they say.
And the feedback.
eBay's in between, says they'll protect me. So it's. I think that's a different thing. I mean. Remember when we first started and $100
was the biggest deal? I remember one of our friends was visiting us and we sold a pair of boots for $130 and we were like what?
It didn't seem like it almost felt like we did something wrong, or like the person
something was going to go wrong.
Was going to get it and they weren't going to believe us
right.
And it was hard. We had to overcome that thing of like, we bought that for $1 and it sold for $120.
How's that possible?
But the buyer doesn't need to know that. It doesn't matter to the buyer.
It's worth it to them.
That's just, it's what it is. And that's when we learn, like, instead of selling everything, and this is what we did in the early days.
For $12.
$9.99.
$9.99, $12.99.
Our prices were $9.99, $12.99, and $18.99.
That was it.
Those were our three prices.
Because, look, we just didn't know.
Because we just assumed that
on auction,
if we bought it cheap, then it had to sell for cheap, so...
But we learned quickly. I mean, that was one of the turning points where we're like, oh, we could charge more for
this. So that's, I think, what I'm trying to do now. So we've had a long period of time now where we've been selling things, again, our bread and butter, $30,
right.
$40.
Right.
And then every week we sell, 5 or 6 things for $100.
Yep.
Like $100 sale is not a big deal. And then maybe once or twice a month, we might sell something for $300 plus.
Right.
Really rare. So my thing is, so can we just keep moving up that thing where selling something for $600 is not a big deal?
Right. Exactly.
When right now it's a huge deal.
It's a huge deal. Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to establish, trying to explore.
Right.
But
I think the hard thing is like that week we had when we were traveling, you just can't control what people are going to buy and when they're going to buy it and how much they want to pay for it.
But see, it's not about that, though. That's not what we're trying to control. What we can control is what we find.
What we find, yeah.
And list on our store and what we price it at.
Right.
That's what we can control.
Right.
And we just don't list a lot of stuff for over $300,
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. And again, I'm not trying to find like specifically an answer from people, but this is what people have said. We have two ways to do it. And that is, what people say is, we'll keep buying more table lots at auctions. Mm-hmm. Like, instead of going once a week and buying four tables, go more. So you get a lot more, like, you throw a huge net.
Right.
And then hope we find more Ouija boards.
And also get rid of the stuff that's not worth anything under.
Well, that's a problem.
Right?
Then you're dealing with so much inventory. Or, the way I've been talking about is being more systematic in what we buy, being willing to pay a little bit more, and find the stuff where like someone on eBay would actually buy this from me for $1,000, and I don't have to, be an art dealer. I don't have to like be friends with all the rich people in town.
Yeah, it's it's an online game. It's not a personable curation.
I just bring this up. This is what we've been thinking. I've been enjoying the feedback people have been giving on the forum and sharing their experience. We'll see. Because, I mean, just imagine if we could sell 20 things a month that are worth $300 or more.
Right.
Like, just
You're
20
boosting
items.
your numbers a lot.
That would, like, double our income.
Yeah. Right. We've been watching this show called Small Business Revolution. It's on Hulu, but they're all on YouTube, too.
Just Google it.
But it was so one of the guys is from Shark Tank, and he was talking to this guy who was a barber. And the barber was like, okay, we do like basic haircuts for $20. Actually, he was saying we do complicated haircuts for $20. We don't have a higher price. And he was like, let's do the numbers. Let's add $5 to that. And he like went across the board and he was like, over the course of a year, you make like $20,000 extra dollars. And the guy was like, what? $5 per person isn't that much. But so it's kind of like what you're saying. If you tweak it, a few things just a little bit, it's kind of like exponential. So it's that same idea, sort of.
And if people are interested in watching that show, don't watch the first season. Jump right to season number 2.
Season 1 was a little bit.
You're not gonna miss anything. Season 1 was kind of hokey and like.
Yeah. Season 2 has been great so far. I really like this show.
Yeah, it's more like down and dirty, like talking about what businesses are doing
and really talking about their numbers.
Yeah,
which for me is amazing on a television show that people are like so vulnerable to be like, I'm telling the world my numbers. I mean, we kind of do that too, but this is like such a huge audience.
But that's what you got to do. And again, people have to get over the fact that they're sharing their numbers because when you don't do that, then you don't know what your business easy to hide. Doing. If something's wrong, that kind of thing.
Right.
Okay, our coming week.
We are driving to another video job.
Yep. Normally when we do these renovations on buildings, we need more cash than we can make on eBay. So we start taking
jobs.
Our career jobs.
Like people are like, do you want to do this job? And we're like, yep.
So it's just going to be a quick trip in and out. We'll be back. And so we'll be out this week. But the hope is our store, which we put all this time and effort in, will continue to crank out. And let's see, we'll have to change our handling time.
I have to change my handling time soon.
So let's see if sales slow down again. I don't know. It's not an ideal time to be going out of town since it is starting to get close to the holidays. But it is.
We got to go make that other money. Yeah. But the other thing too is I'll turn my phone into a hotspot. And I will be listing in the car because we're driving. It's about 8-9 hours to this job. We prefer to drive because actually we're going to pick some stuff on Craigslist in like some other city far away.
Yeah, we're definitely in the scavenging for our rental for this new building we're doing, which we hope to get done by spring summer. We start buying stuff on Craigslist that we're going to need. It would be very easy to spend $20,000 plus to buy furniture
and appliances
and bathrooms.
I've actually heard that on shows before where people are like, "Oh, it'll cost you about $20 to outfit it." I'm like, what?
It's for an entire apartment.
Right.
So, and that's for probably fairly average kind of stuff. If you wanted to get higher end stuff,
forget it.
I mean, you can spend $20,000 on just one bedroom. So for what we do, since we have so much time, we start to go on Craigslist and we look. Yep. And we probably get a really pretty nice place, like higher end stuff, for about $5,000.
Well, sure. I would say it's about $5,000. Right. You know, with beds and mattresses and refrigerator and oven, you know, stuff like that, couches. The cool thing about Craigslist that we love is, like, a lot of people will, whoever they are, they're not us, they're probably not a lot of you, they will move to a city, they will buy all new stuff at West Elm or wherever, like, expensive stuff, use it for a year, barely be in their apartment, and then sell it on Craigslist for nothing. And you're like, this stuff is basically brand new. It's amazing. So that's the beauty of the country we live in, right?
No, I mean, you know, people are very, it's nice. It's nice. So, we're going to be driving through Ohio to get to Detroit, and a guy's selling an oven,
a brand new oven, the exact oven I want.
For about a third of the price.
A fraction of the price, and I've just been talking to him. I'm like, okay, we'll come get it, and I'll find your little town.
We'll do it.
You know?
Okay, let's take the calls or questions that people have sent in.
Hi, Jay. Hi, Ryan. This is Seagal from California. I've been binge listening to your podcasts and was inspired to call. I had a thought about the make offers, that when people don't pay on make offers, and I've been trying it out on my own store to see how it works, but I just wanted to share. So if somebody makes an offer and then I accept and they don't pay, then of course I have to go through the whole cycle of, opening an unpaid item case, waiting 2 days, then waiting 4 days, and the whole thing. And meanwhile, my item is not in the store. And I have to send them letters and invoices, and it's just a lot of work. So what I decided to do is, instead of accepting offers, I make a counter offer of just a few dollars more, just to see if they're really serious. Because I've had it happen several times where I get these offers on something that's big, like $100, $140, and then poof, the person goes AWOL. So I just reply back with an offer, and then that way, if they want my item, then they can accept my offer, and I don't have to go through that whole rigmarole. The second thing I wanted to ask and share and find out what other people think is buying in bulk but vintage items. And what I mean is, for example, I was at a yard sale and I found 10 boxes unopened of brayer horses. I don't know if you know what those are, but people collect these horses. They're plastic figurines, but they have all these models. Anyway, when people are really into it, they collect them. And I found 10 of them. So I was able to list once, and of course now I have a quantity of 10. My question is, I haven't yet seen this very often, although it's happened to me a couple of times, is how to get that to happen more often. Where might I find more of that? I'm sure, my feeling is obviously it's luck of the draw. But I thought I'd just share the thought and see, because I know you guys talk a lot about maybe buying higher-end items and paying more for higher-end items so that, you're making more, you got more bang for your buck at that point because you make more money. But if you buy in bulk, then it's almost the same thing, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. You just list once and then you just keep selling the same thing over and over again. The question is, the Holy Grail, how do you find them? Anyway, those were my two thoughts. Thanks again for all that you do. Love listening to you guys, and happy holidays. Bye-bye.
So she has an interesting idea about sending the offer back to them, but I feel like if they accept it, they might still not pay.
I guess I don't quite understand what how that solves the problem.
I don't think it solves the problem. I think it gives the customer a little more work to do if they're really serious. They're like, yeah, I want this. Okay, now I'm going to pay for it. My worry about that is that you're confusing somebody.
Right.
That they're like, I thought, yeah, I sent this offer, and then they just wait for you to accept it, and they don't know that's a counter offer.
I think I've heard other people say the same thing where they counter with like 1 penny under or something. Right. I don't know. The only way to do it is to try it and then tell us how it works. I think just for us, especially, you know how it is. You're going through your day, an offer comes in.
You want it.
I don't want to fool around.
Get it.
And I'm just going to assume the person's going to pay.
I mean, that's the assumption.
For the most part, again, as much as we complain about the 2 or 3 people that don't pay, 90% of people, 95% of people do pay. So that's where we're coming from.
Yeah.
I just don't know if there's a way to solve it. And like we said, even people who buy immediately and pay immediately, they can still cancel. They can still be flaky,
which is what happens.
Yeah.
Someone buys something for $100, pays immediately, doesn't even make an offer, and then 20 minutes later they're asking to cancel. Yeah. So I really don't think that it's a problem that eBay can solve or we can solve. It's just like this personality thing, and like Orion said, millions of people are shopping on eBay, and there's a small fraction of just wacky people
who are flaky,
don't have money,
not good with money,
just
drunk. I mean,
seriously,
the kids, the mom has like the computer in the dining room and it's logged in, and the kids are buying stuff out of her. Yeah,
exactly.
All those things.
Who knows? So the other part of the call was talking about buying vintage or antique or cool stuff in bulk and in quantity. Right. I mean, of course.
Yeah, no, those are...
Of course I want to buy 10.
I think the answer to me is just you got to get out there more.
You got to find it.
Like I said, if I want to try my experiment of buying more high-end stuff, I just have to go to more auctions, And it sounds like her story is the same way. You just got to go to more estate sales,
find
more...
Exactly.
Yard sales.
But see, the problem with that, I find, is I never find 10 of the exact same thing. There might be a collection of 10 and they're all different. So you're like, you got to do 10 listings.
It happens every so often.
It's rare.
It's like those markers we bought.
Those markers,
all these markers. I mean, there were a bunch of different ones, but there would be 10 of this one, 3 of this one.
Exactly. It's just, it's rare to find that stuff. But when you do, it's great.
Yeah.
Hi, Jay. Hi, Ryan. My name's Dave. I'm calling from Michigan. About the 5th time I've called you guys. I called about a year ago and related a story about buying some 4 storage units and what I ended up making off those, and did a follow-up call, how much work it was and stuff. I've continued to buy storage units, but I've refined my methods of buying them and what I will, not refine my methods, but refine what I will and won't buy. I bought a $10 unit last week that had just like a toddler bed and a dollhouse in it, because anytime they sell for $10, I'll buy them and go over, and it was 10 minutes from my house, and I found 206 grams of 14 karat gold in a box in there, and necklaces and things. Ended up selling it off for $3,800 was my payout on it. So if I could just do one of those a week, it'd be great. Another reason I'm calling is I had my first experience on eBay as a buyer with a seller who no longer accepts PayPal. And I don't know, I know you guys talked about eBay phasing out PayPal, but I collect records, and I went to buy a Dead Kennedy record, plastic surgery disasters, and the seller did not accept PayPal. So I think I might even send them a message saying it was disappointed, and I just went to another seller who did accept PayPal and bought it through there. It was basically the same price. As a buyer, I would have liked the option, even if they're accepting another payment type, to accept PayPal as well. So I wanted to hear your thoughts on that. Love your podcast, guys, and keep up the good work. Bye.
Okay, so let's...
Number 1, Dead Kennedys.
Holiday in Cambodia.
Dude, yes.
That's awesome. Yes. So number one, I think I remember you calling about you were the one into buying storage units, and we've never done that. We went to one once, and just prices were so crazy because I think people go and watch Storage Wars, and they dream of buying the locker that you're talking about.
That you just bought.
Now,
a $10 locker
if
with
we were
gold.
to talk in person, I would love to know how many storage lockers, you've actually bought.
Right. That didn't have gold.
What percentage of them have, like, the gold bar in it that sells for the $800? And how many are storage that just have, like, old mattresses and old... even on those... Right. Even on those shows, there'll be people that spend $3,000 on a locker, and they say, "Oh, this is worth about $3,500 with all the work and time it takes."
Right,
so
it's worth. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I personally just don't like the idea of buying something I can't see. I know they allow people to stand outside, but I like auctions because you can handle and touch and research everything.
Everything, yeah.
It's just all up there in the open, and I don't really like the kind of goodie box.
Right. So, but that's the amazing thing about this lot. Everyone was like, "There's nothing in there. It's garbage." And he was like,
"Mystery box."
He was like, $10, whatever.
I also I don't say I'm a suspicious person by nature, but I just don't trust that the storage person doesn't go through the stuff first before they sell it. I don't know. I guess
it just depends on where you're buying. Do you trust those people?
Yeah, I would just feel like human nature would be like the owner would be like,
I'm finding the gold.
I now own it, so I'll sell the whole thing, but let me go through and find anything cool, and then I'll sell the locker. So
yep.
I don't know.
Okay, number 2, buying awesome punk records on eBay.
But no paper. I didn't quite understand that.
So are they accepting eBay payments and they're not allowed to accept PayPal? Like, why didn't you just have both? Why wouldn't the seller just have both?
I think I remember someone on the forum coming and saying they opted in to that new thing, and for whatever reason, to opt into the new eBay payments, you can't take PayPal anymore.
Crazy.
And I think it just might be because they're trying to do a test, and so they need to have, they basically are forcing a buyer to only use. So I guess my question is, so do people just put their credit card in and it just charges?
It must just be the credit card.
Right.
I'm assuming that him as a buyer, Dave, was like, well, I don't want to mess with my credit card. My PayPal's already signed in.
Right.
It's a hassle. But if you put your credit card in or your debit card or whatever, and you're like, fine, I'll pay for it that way, and then it's just the same as paying with PayPal. It's just a different bank account, essentially. So, I don't know. Yeah, that's a pain. It's probably a pain for the seller, too, because they're like, I just lost a sale, Yeah. Okay, that is it for the podcast this week. You can check out our blog at scavengerlife.com for the links we discuss and to join the conversation on the forum. You can leave a question or a comment on our voicemail line. The phone number is 540-407-8486, or you can email us an audio file. Our email is thescavengerlife@gmail.com. We post an episode every Monday morning. On Wednesdays, we post a What Sells video, currently being brought to you by Stephen Schultz. You can subscribe to our Patreon account, which helps support us and pays our server fees, which is very helpful. You can subscribe through iTunes or YouTube for free, so you always get the latest episodes. You can buy our archive of 5 years worth of podcasts that you can download and listen to on your thingies, whatever they are, your iPods or your iPhones. Okay, we're ending this podcast in 3, 2, 1.
Bye.